Pausa rapidinho agora para falar de dica de ouro para os papais e mamães. Depois de experimentar a nova Hug Supreme Care Fralda Roupinha, tudo ficou ainda melhor para o meu filho. É a única com canais em X que se adaptam aos movimentos, com 2 vezes proteção noturna e cintura elástica que se adapta ao corpinho do bebê, além de ser super fácil de colocar e tirar. Praticidade pura. Então guarda essa dica. Nova Hug Supreme Care Fralda Roupinha. Bebê, estamos juntos nessa, mais do que nunca. Agora curta seu podcast.
Hi, it's Dave here. This is my wife, Kathy.
Hello.
This is the Cinemile. It's the podcast where we walk home from the movies. Today we're going to see a movie at home. It's a Netflix movie. It's called Beverly Hills Cop, Axel F.
AKA Beverly Hills Cop 4.
Yes, because you can't put 4 in the title of a movie. Don't be ridiculous. You must put the lead character's name in, but not their surname, just the letter.
It's a shocking title.
It's a very odd title.
Yeah.
It's not even Axel F, which I think would be a cleaner title. But obviously someone was like, no, we have to remind them that it's Beverly Hills Cop.
Yeah.
Maybe it's for SEO reasons.
Yeah, maybe.
Anyway, here's the thing. Neither of us have ever seen any of the Beverly Hills Cop movies. Pause for shock. Because I'm sure a lot of anyone we've said that to in person have given us one of those raised eyebrows
But it's
looks.
like one of those
how did you get
movies
this far?
You think you've seen, and then you sit down and go, actually, when I really think about it, I've seen clips of it. I've not actually seen the film.
I wouldn't say I've even seen clips. Here's how I've consumed Beverly Hills Cop. Through stumbling upon one of its sequels while channel hopping in the 90s.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I've seen scenes from this movie out of context. But yeah, never seen it. And it's a real blind spot. And we're going to correct that, because what we're going to do is, in honour of this movie coming out, Kathy had a great idea last week for our patrons to vote on an original movie from one of the Lego sequels that are being delivered this year. So we had Twisters. We said we can watch the original of either Twister, which is getting a sequel, Beverly Hills Cop, Gladiator, which is getting a sequel this year, or there was another one that I've forgotten. Bad Boys. Bad Boys.
Yeah.
So everyone in our Patreon voted for us to watch Beverly Hills Cop for the first time. So we're going to do a back-to-back. We are going to watch Beverly Hills Cop, followed immediately by Beverly Hills Cop 4, skipping 2 and 3.
Which is usually the way to do it with any franchise done. Anyway.
And so we're going to do that and we're going to come back here and we're going to give you a review of Beverly Hills Cop Axel F. And if you want to hear our thoughts on the original, you can head over to our Patreon page and subscribe for the low cost of €3 or €4 a month. It's less than a cup of coffee now, because coffee's
so expensive.
Is going up. But the cost of living keeps going up, but the cost of subscribing to our Patreon
has never gone up.
Never changed.
And also, you can join it for 7 days free and then cancel.
That's true. So go get the review for free and then leave. That's fine
exactly.
too. I'm concerned. I have reservations. I'm concerned about watching this movie. I'm concerned that it has dated badly. I'm concerned that we're not going to like it, and I'm concerned that all the diehard fans.
Oh, sorry,
of it,
the fourth one. I thought we were talking about the first one. I'm even confused by what we're doing. The fourth one.
We're watching both of them.
My expectations are in the floor.
Here's my.
I think we're going to watch a great Beverly Hills 1 and a terrible Beverly Hills 4.
No, I think both are. I don't think I'm going to like either of them, and I think you're going to come at me just like when we didn't like The Wedding Singer, and all our patrons turned on us.
Okay, well, let's go watch multiple versions of Beverly Hills Cop and then come back to talk about Beverly Hills Cop Axel F. only here.
See you soon.
Bye.
Good morning, everybody. It's another beautiful day here in Beverly Hills.
What the hell was that?
Let me guess. Foley.
Did you say Foley?
Foley! You stole a helicopter! I didn't realize that you couldn't really fly a helicopter. Otherwise, I would have came up with a different idea. I told you it was a bad idea. Oh, he shot my rotor off. Shit.
You know, this is very embarrassing.
You know, part of me rather get locked up than get put in this little Fisher-Price-looking squad car.
Y'all are the Lego cops.
Jane, hey, this is your father. Before you hang up, I'm in town. I've been arrested. Hello?
All right, hi, we're back. We have seen Beverly Hills Cop Lego sequel Axel F on Netflix, and we're going to tell you all about it right now. But if it's your first time here, there are no spoilers for Beverly Hills Cop Axel F. I'm going to say its full title every time. Until, of course, we turn to Spoiler Street. So, Kathy, what did you think of that movie?
So first of all, I think it's a perfect pairing to watch 1 to 4, 1 and then 4. And I think it was a very good legacy sequel. It struck all the right notes of the first one. It had a new story. Great to see Eddie Murphy. Like, he's not an actor that I see that often anymore, and he's such a good actor. I liked the kind of combination of the old cast, which I was nostalgic for watching, having only just discovered them 2 hours previous. I was like, oh my god, look, it's those guys in the original. The combination of bringing the old cast back, which you always need to do, and then new actors. And I thought it was, like, when I saw the runtime, which was about 2 hours, I was a bit concerned because the first one was only an hour and a half. But I think it did well. And like, one of the things about it, first of all, I did laugh a bit, but it kind of felt like an 80s movie. Like, the stunts felt real. I don't know how real they were, but like, it felt very much in line with the original. They work perfectly together. I mean, it's very clever of Netflix because they have all the movies and now they've done this one. Like, they all work really well together. It didn't feel like a cynical cash-in, which often these things do. Yeah, I had a good time with it. Is it like the best film I've seen this year? No, but I have to say I actually really enjoyed it. And I think there was like a kind of decent, underlying kind of mystery piece as well.
Yeah, I agree with everything you said, except mystery. There's no mystery in either of these films.
Or not mystery,
you
but
know
like,
who the bad guy is from the beginning, and then you're just watching.
They're solving it.
Yeah, they're solving the mystery. There's no mystery for the audience. Yeah, I agree with you. I think this is a really solid movie. It's a good watch. I really enjoyed it. I really enjoyed watching it directly after Beverly Hills Cop, which, by the way, we won't get into the detail here. Again, that's on our Patreon. But we both really liked. It's a great film. That holds up. My God, it holds up.
The first one really holds up.
And do you know what I really liked is it's a performance by Eddie Murphy in both movies that is much more reined in than I was expecting.
Yeah.
Now,
in my head, I associated Eddie Murphy with like the Nutty Professor and stuff like that.
Well, or yeah, his career, or even Shrek. It's like he's a big actor, right? And it's very big performances. He can be loud and shouty. Even Coming to America, just like big, crazy, zany performances.
I think of him from Coming to America and The Nutty Professor.
Yeah, so
I know for a whole different generation he's SNL and he's a comedian, but that was like before our time. We're still astounded by the fact that he was 21 in the first.
Oh my God!
Stop! Shocking,
incredible.
Like, nothing has ever shocked me more than realizing
21 years old.
How young he is, how good he is.
He holds that whole film.
He holds the whole film, yeah.
So
it was really nice to see him back in the role. Like, it feels like seeing Sylvester Stallone back in Rocky. Like, that's the feeling of it.
Well, I've got some great fun facts for you when we go into our Beverly Hills Cop thoughts around Sylvester Stallone. Heavily involved in the making of this film. It was supposed to be a Sylvester Stallone film.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Eddie Murphy, the original, Eddie Murphy only came on a few weeks before they started shooting.
No way! Wow.
So, yeah, I think Eddie Murphy's performance is so, like, restrained.
Yeah.
Or not restrained, maybe that's not the right word, but it's not what I was expecting.
He's not in a fat suit playing his own mother.
No, but even when he's a character, Axel Foley is a character who is himself performing. Every time he goes into any situation, he's like making up a character and trying to hustle his way into getting information or getting a free room.
That stuff's really fun.
It's great, it's fun, it's the heart of the movie, but also those are moments where I thought, okay, this is Eddie Murphy off the leash. He's going to play some crazy character even in those moments. But he also doesn't. It's still quite restrained. And I think to the movie's credit, because I think both these movies balance the dramatic side of things and the comedy really well. Mm-hmm. And they're very heartfelt.
I was really happy to see Judge Reinhold back again. I haven't seen him in so long.
Yes, looking like Mickey Rourke.
Sort of,
who was also considered for the role of Axel, by the way. So yeah, I think to focus on the new movie Axel F, what I liked about it is that yes, it leans into the nostalgia and does a lot of callbacks.
But they work though. Like, if I hadn't seen the first film, I wouldn't have felt they were odd.
Some only occasionally did it feel really shoehorned, but I was fine with it. It felt earned because the movie doesn't feel, as you said, like a cash-in. it feels like they had a little bit of an extra dimension to add to Axel's character, which they do by focusing on his relationship with his daughter. And Eddie Murphy and God, what's the actress's name? Should have had it to hand. They are fantastic together.
They're really good on screen.
And this film works because of them and their chemistry. Joseph Gordon-Levitt, it's interesting. We'll talk about it in Spoiler Streets. I think he's good in this, but there's a point at which the buddy cop bit kind of flips, and I was more interested in when he was with his daughter.
Yeah, for sure. But that's the heart of the film.
Then you've got Kevin Bacon in here.
Love it.
Turning in a classic Kevin Bacon performance. So you can't go wrong with that. So yeah, and the action scenes are pretty good. I did read an interview with the director with Variety to answer your question, in which they said he insisted on doing all the stunts in camera. So all the car crashes are real. They actually flew a helicopter down a street.
Yeah, it looked real.
So, and I think because he wanted to keep it in line with 80s action films and the original Beverly Hills Cop. So I think there's an additional level of care to this legacy sequel that you don't always get, and I think it's to the movie's credit. Again, like you said, it's not amazing, but it's certainly much better than the average Netflix produced thing, I would say.
I even enjoy how they sort of slag off the third movie in this movie, which is like a fun meta kind of joke.
Yeah, I also discovered in that Variety article that the director of this movie, Axel F, hasn't seen the third one, asked Jerry Bruckheimer and Dom Simpson if he should, and they said don't bother.
That's so bad.
Yeah.
But let's go to Spoiler Street now, and before we get there, you may hear a quick ad break.
Pausa rapidinho agora para falar de dica de ouro para os papais e mamães. Depois de experimentar a nova Hug Supreme Care Fralda Roupinha, tudo ficou ainda melhor para o meu filho. É a única com canais em X que se adaptam aos movimentos, com 2 vezes proteção noturna e cintura elástica que se adapta ao corpinho do bebê, além de ser super fácil de colocar e tirar. Praticidade pura. Então guarda essa dica. Nova Hug Supreme Care Fralda Roupinha. Bebê, estamos juntos nessa, mais do que nunca. Agora curta seu podcast.
Okay, so spoilers now for Beverly Hills Cop, Axel F. And just before we get into it, Taylor Page is the actress that plays Axel's daughter in this. And I thought she was really good.
I've never seen her before, but I really enjoyed her.
No, me neither. And
also it's hilarious when you compare it to the first one, whereby there's only one female character and she has nothing to do.
Yeah, and she has no bearing on the plot except to have a gun held to her head at the end, which is classic.
And like, they also have obviously modernised this film to the point where there's like female cops, there's female characters who have things to talk about. And I think they've modernised the film in a really nice way. Like, as you would progress, like, there will be more female cops now. Do you know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
So I like how they've brought it along, and I think they've done that thing where like you often hear older comedians, say Jerry Seinfeld, I'm looking at you, who were like, you can't make anything funny anymore because the woke police. Is like, Jerry Seinfeld, your stuff is shit anyway, and it's got nothing to do with woke police, because the stuff that was good in the original Beverly Hills and funny is still good and funny now.
Yeah.
Like, tonally there's been no shift. Like, one of the things we were concerned about when you go to rewatch a movie from the 80s is that it would just be awful, and like often this happens to us on our Patreon, you go back and watch a beloved movie and realise it's like ableist, fattest, sexist, racist. It's like every ist you can find, bar maybe one questionable scene in the first one that wasn't really there, other than, like completely writing out female characters, but there wasn't like overt sexism. So yeah, I was happy to see this film actually just stick to its guns, be funny in the way the first one was funny, and prove that like you can actually make really good entertainment and like also be respectful. So I really like all that. But I think the plot with the daughter was very good and kind of really got to me, actually, because it's a real issue, of like lots of parents are estranged from their kids, particularly after a divorce. And I think, I'm guessing some of that might have been alluded to in the third movie that we didn't see, but it didn't matter at all. It didn't matter that we hadn't seen the second or third movie at all, I would say. This seems like a direct sequel to the first film.
Yeah, it feels like that's the intention.
It's like the way you can go from Rocky 1 to Rocky 6,
Yeah, exactly,
like
exactly.
That.
They're playing, and it is, this film does clearly play with the template that Beverly Hills Cop laid out. It's structured in exactly the same way.
Yeah.
You know,
Well, we always thought.
the heat is on plays at the beginning, followed by
Yeah, the same music.
the neutron dance later. I mean, it's
That's why it's fun to watch them back to back to spot those things. And I think as well, neither of us knew that he wasn't actually. So now you're on spoiler street. He's not actually based in Beverly Hills. He's a Detroit cop.
Yeah, because
He's a fish out of water in Beverly Hills.
Because you'll all have seen 2 and 3 probably, but we haven't, and I don't know what happens. But we had naturally assumed after watching the first one that, okay, so I guess he moves to Beverly Hills now, so that he can have a sequel, rather than. But it seems like no, they just come up with a contrived reason for him to go to Beverly Hills from Detroit 4 times.
Well, they say something about it being to do with he's in some sort of witness protection, or his kids are, so that might have been the third one. So if in the second one for some reason he went from Detroit to Beverly Hills again. Anyway, all that stuff's really fun anyway, and it also pokes fun at Beverly Hills, which I really always enjoy.
Yeah, although I don't think this movie does a whole lot of that.
No,
really, does
just lightly.
Yeah. What else? I mean, the action scenes were a bit of a mixed bag.
They weren't as good as the first film.
No, although the first film didn't have amazing action scenes either. It was funny that the mansion at the shootout at the end was just, it looked like the same mansion. Did they go to the same mansion?
I don't know.
Did they?
But I enjoyed the mansion shootout at the end. Like I really liked all that stuff. Like getting the old gang back together, the corrupt policeman, all that stuff. Like it's just, do you know what I think about this film is it's kind of a bit of a comfort watch. Like everything's signposted, we know what's coming, there's a few jokes, there's a few good action scenes, but it's of like a high caliber because of the actors and the direction.
Yeah.
And it's just a really nice film to put on, I think. And if you're just looking for something to watch like on a Saturday evening, it's absolutely perfect film to put on.
Yeah, it's an easy watch,
Yeah.
but I think you're right. It's an action film that really the emphasis is on the comedy and the character, and that's where, and I think the same as of the original, that's where its strengths lie. Like,
and Eddie Murphy just being brilliant in it.
well, that's what I mean. Eddie Murphy's interactions with Judge Reinhold and your man that plays Taggart and his daughter and Joseph Gordon-Levitt. You know, there's a lot of people for him to spar with and play off, and that's where the movie shines. It's not in. Like, I don't think the action scenes are particularly interesting.
No.
If anything, if you think about them for any 2 seconds, like I didn't understand why Joseph Gordon-Levitt's character was a former pilot, just so they could have this helicopter scene. But then he says, "I crashed a plane."
But that was so
But he doesn't
funny.
seem able to fly a plane
But
at all.
that's when I started properly laughing, because I did not expect that to happen. And then Kevin Bacon's like, they're flying under the radar. Like he thinks they're being really tricky and clever, but he's just actually a ship pilot, and that's why he's not a pilot anymore.
Yeah.
And if you were really shit at something and then you haven't done it in 10 years, you'd certainly be a lot worse. And I love when Eddie Murphy goes, well, you flew it better than I would have, but like I thought you could fly it. Like I just found all that stuff quite charming. And I think Joseph Gordon-Levitt, I can never say his name properly, I really liked him in it actually. I thought he was very kind of surprising casting, but I think for whatever reason they like to cast somebody a bit soft opposite like Judge Reinhold was in the first film. They want that kind of softer character, and Eddie Murphy's quite soft as well. Like they're not particularly macho movies. Like I love, you know, the way Eddie Murphy's always doing the different impressions and trying to calm people. he goes up to the desk at the hotel in Beverly Hills and he's like, "Hi, I'm a food writer from," and then he goes, "Oh fuck this, I'm too tired.
Yeah,
Just give me a room."
that's a good
I
that's a good
love
gag.
that. Like that was such a good gag.
My favourite one was when he goes into the body shop, the police, or whatever it was, where where they were storing the cars, the police vehicles. And he says they can see that the guy's really into movies, and he pretends to be a casting director.
That was so good.
And then he says he's in Jupiter Ascending, and what I loved is that the daughter would just like mess with his method. You know, can you tell me one thing about Jupiter Ascending? that I don't know. I thought that was such a specific reference that I enjoyed.
It was good. Or like when she comes into the boardroom and they're like, "Oh, there's a big oil baron in who wants to talk to you," and it's just Eddie Murphy in a red suit. Like all that stuff. I'd love to watch more of that. So yeah, all around really enjoyed it. I'd be interested to know what you guys think about it, if you've watched it. I mean, I imagine it's going to be a hit for Netflix. I think it's a great idea. It's an example of a kind of movie that I would love to see in the cinema, but I think it's very clever of Netflix to have brought it out. But like, given what smash hits what a smash hit it was in original run, I think it could have actually had a good theatre run. So it's disappointing that it went straight to Netflix.
It might have.
Yeah.
But yeah, certainly also better than Coming to America, which we haven't
my
talked about on this
God.
podcast, but we did watch.
We
and it's
watched
not
that
good.
during the pandemic with
Yeah.
the intent of recording a podcast on it.
We couldn't muster the energy
We were so
to-
depressed after we
It was
watched
very
it.
bad.
Yeah, that was really bad. Yeah, you're right. I'd forgotten. I'd actually blocked that from my mind.
Although I did like that in this movie he another great scene when he's in the office and the goons are there, you know, and he instantly pretends to be one of them, and they're like, "Isn't this you? Isn't that you in this picture?" And he's like, "No, that's
Wesley
Snipes, who I think was in Coming to America." Come to think of it, as a warlord, wasn't he, or something?
Can't remember. Right, let's go.
Right.
Thank you everyone for listening. Let us know what you thought of this, or in fact any of the other Beverly Hills Cops, particularly 2 and 3, which we have never and will never watch.
But you can spoil for us, we don't care.
Yeah, you can.
Hit us up at thecinemile@gmail.com for emails, at thecinemile on Instagram, Letterboxd, YouTube. There's lots of ways to reach us, TikTok, or of course, again, join our Patreon. Listen to our thoughts of the original Beverly Hills Cop. I've dug up lots of fun facts to surprise Kathy with. And weekly House of the Dragon reviews, all that good stuff. TV, retro movie watches, head there.
Bye.
Thanks for listening.
God, I missed you, Axel.